Hi, I'm Nick,
And I'm Miki.
and this is Puzzles, a How I Met Your Mother re-rewatch.
Each week, we'll be breaking down episodes of How I Met Your Mother, mostly spoiler free, celebrating the show,
Critiquing it,
asking what aged well.
and what aged poorly.
Why is it called Puzzles, Nick?
That's the puzzle. This is episode 9. Does it work for them? No, never. But it might work for us. Hello, Mickey.
Hi, Nick. What's up?
Well, it's very hot here in Boston. How's that been in Tennessee?
It's hot typically this time of year. It's been really rainy this year, though, so that's kind
Hmm.
of helped.
Not so much here. We've had a little rain last week, but yeah, it's been pretty dry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
No
and
tornadoes though.
just telling you, we were in Zion National Park in Utah last weekend, so yeah, that was not as humid, but it was way hotter and the sun was way more intense.
Mm. What's the main draw of Zion National Park?
We wanted to go to the Narrows. We honestly didn't really we spent most of the trip in the hotel room because Kiki got sick. She timed it perfectly.
Um,
Yeah, we got to the main entrance of the park, and then, we were in line to get in a shuttle to take us up to the part of the park we wanted to check out, and she was just kinda under the weather-ish, and we were thinking it might be okay, and then literally the second that we got onto the shuttle, she just went "Bleh," and threw up all over my husband.
uh,
So I'd rather her do it before that than, like, we're committed, we're, like, out in the middle of the wilderness, so we got back to the hotel, and she was fine eventually, but, yeah, I couldn't tell you what Zion National Park was like because we never, like, get to see that much of it,
oh.
unfortunately.
So it's a canyon and mountains?
Yeah, it's oh god, it's gorgeous, actually, the whole area, it's mountains everywhere, it's a beautiful, kind of rusty color, and, yeah, so where we're gonna go, the Narrows, it's you actually kinda just, like, wade through this, like, river that, like, goes up and down at different depths, and, yeah, you just, like, walk your way in between the mountains, I guess, almost like, I guess being at the
Hmm.
bottom of a very narrow canyon.
Oh, cool.
We'll try it again next time. So I didn't actually end up getting to watch a lot of TV, this past week because of traveling. I actually ended up watching a couple movies, though.
Oh yeah, what'd you watch?
Sinners! We watched Sinners finally.
I still have to see that. How's it?
It's fantastic. You'll like it.
All right.
Well, first of all, Michael B. Jordan times 2, so I was pretty pleased about that because
Times two.
he plays a set of twins. Do you know anything about the plot?
I heard a summary at one point, but
Okay, well then, it's just really well done. The soundtrack's incredible.
all right.
I've been listening to it. And then actually, last night, we got a date night for the first time in a while, so we went and we watched the F1 movie, and that was pretty good, actually.
Well, I finally got around to seeing Tenet,
Hey!
about a couple weeks ago. It's definitely things don't quite make sense. I mean, the plot itself is very tightly constructed and it is interesting. I had to watch this YouTube video to understand exactly how it all fit together.
Same.
But I will say the whole like reverse matter obviously doesn't work really. Like, but like it has a cool concept.
Like how they had to wear the thing so that they could breathe?
Well, I mean that and also there's a reverse bullet, and then if you point a gun at it and you pull the trigger, you can catch the bullet. Like that thing never really made sense.
I don't remember.
Yeah, that part. I mean, it was a cool concept, but it really fell apart at the edges if you started thinking about it. So well done. You know, I liked all of the stuff, but also it's like, eh,
It must be tough to watch a lot of TV shows and movies as a scientist. Like,
it can be, yeah.
poor Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah.
I get the Titanic.
Neil deGrasse Tyson also doesn't have a great reputation right now, but
What
he
did
can.
he do?
He there was a bunch of stories about him being kind of a womanizer at scientific conferences and things like
Um,
that. I don't know exactly like how bad it was, but it was enough to like make people sour on him.
that's funny,
And
my uncle was just at a conference with him.
oh,
He
your uncle? Wait, what's your uncle do?
It was like an AI conference. He works for IBM. No, I don't even remember anymore. He works for some tech company as like a salesperson, but the conference was all about AI and he
Hmm,
didn't hit on my uncle. So
okay. Maybe this is like a young version of him that was the issue and not like, you know, I don't know. I don't wanna, like, slander anyone, this is just what's been scattered out in the interwebs.
Honestly, I was so scared you were gonna say Mickey. He was in the Epstein files.
I have no knowledge of that.
Oh,
I also, finished, season 1 of Murderbot, which was on Apple TV.
a what?
Murderbot?
Murder bot? Okay.
Yeah, so there's a series of books. It's supposed to be a kind of a satirical comedy, sci-fi of, like, a robot who breaks his, like, restraining or governing module so that he can kinda have free will, but
Mhm,
he kind of, like, hates humanity or doesn't understand it. It's kinda interesting. Like, the first few episodes were kinda blah, but then, like, there was actually some interesting plot back half of the season.
mhm.
So I'm interested to see what will end up happening with it.
Okay.
It's actually let's see, there's 10 episodes, but they're all only half an hour, so it's actually a pretty quick watch compared to some more recent shows, which, even if something that's, like, modestly entertaining, like, you can just, like, go through it quickly and, like,
Mhm.
it's not a big investment, which I kinda liked. So that was interesting. Also, Foundation just started again, season 3,
Don't.
loosely based on Isaac Asimov's book series. Speaking of really terrible man, Isaac Asimov was, extremely bad to the women around him when he was, alive. But the show has been pretty good. But, I mean, the third season's been a little bit weird, like, there's just 1 episode so far. I can't quite tell what they're gonna do with it, and they're kinda setting things up. There was, like, a whole bunch of changes where, like, they were gonna, like, cut the budget and, like, changed out the showrunner, but, yeah, we will see what happens with that. And, oh, yeah, I finally got around to reading the Hunger Games books.
I forgot that you had not read them. Did you how far are you?
I'm about halfway through the first book. The
How do
games
you
are
like
just
it?
about.
Do you like it?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Which
It's interesting because it's
the
all.
movies, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, I really enjoyed the movies. I think it's actually some of my favorites. Yeah, it's interesting because it's entirely her first person's perspective. It's kind of like her inner narration of everything, and it moves at a quick pace too. So I'm
Mhm,
contrasting with I just read the Expanse books, or like I finished the third one in that one recently, just before starting this,
mhm,
and they're huge, thick books, and they describe like everything that happens, all conversations, and like in detail. Whereas this one kind of it skips over a bunch of just time. It's like kind of what she's focusing on. And yeah, so the Expanse books are a bit more of a slog, I would say.
mm.
Even though the content is interesting, it's just lot to get through. So I'm taking a break from reading the rest of that series at the moment.
God, good for you, though. I borrowed Enid Blyton. Is that her name? Enid Blyton? Am I saying that right? She's this
I'm
British
not familiar with his name.
is a children's author, and I wanted to give her a try, and I borrowed, a book from the library, one of hers, like, 3 months ago, and I got, like, halfway through, and then I got an email from the library the other day that it was time to return it, and, like, that's how far I got into a children's book. Had that little time to read.
Yeah, I bet. Um, oh, I will say it was nice. So was in the shade in my apartment's courtyard with a nice breeze. It was great. So just was down there and like read half the day. It was quite lovely. It's been a
Oh,
while since I've done something like that.
luxurious.
Not having like a TV show on or a podcast, just like be outside and reading a book.
Here, the
I miss that.
listeners, watch less television.
Yeah, yeah. Don't be like us.
Yeah, it's
Anyway, shall we get into the episodes?
yeah. Oh, I wanted to
Yeah,
share a
sure.
quick thought before we start getting into these ones. I was thinking a little bit more about the last episode we discussed, remember, where a game night, and it
Uh-huh.
ended with Barney revealing that he'd surreptitiously recorded him and Shannon having sex without her knowledge.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I was thinking just one more layer to that was I'm wondering if for Barney that was a very specific type of revenge because she had this compromising tape of him all those years. I'm wondering if
Uh,
that was a little bit of again, completely different situation,
yeah,
a lot of reasons, but I wondered if that was kind of in the back of his mind when he did that too.
I can see that.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know if in the scheme of things, it evens out, but yeah. Yeah, I can see that logic. Speaking of the last episode, so it turns out I was right in my instinct about what zip, zip, zip is supposed to mean. Like, everybody unzipping the 3 storylines.
Okay.
But on the official podcast, they're saying, "Yeah, it's a terrible name." Like, I don't know why we named it that, but it just seemed made sense at the time.
And
So,
nobody got it.
all right. So, yeah, today we are talking about episode 16 of season 1, Cupcake, and episode 17, Life Among the Gorillas. And I will be starting this week. So let's get into Cupcake.
Woo!
Cupcake aired March 6th, 2006. The main guest star I want to talk about, I was actually not going to talk about any of them because it was like, eh. But then I saw what she was in. I felt I had to mention it. So the bridal shopkeeper is Caroline Lagerfeld, and she's been in a whole bunch of things. But the most important thing is that she was Spike's mom in Buffy.
No! Oh, hold on. I gotta fast forward all the way to try to I can't move on from this until I see her.
Yep, season 7, episode 17. That was when we first saw Spike's mom.
That doesn't look anything like her, but I guess she was in, like, period makeup and dress and stuff in Buffy. Oh, that's
Yeah, at
crazy.
least 10.
Good catch.
Yeah, so that was cool. Also, I just wanted to, point out that, like, this name that always pops up at the end, like, or the first name of the credits is this producer named Stuart Halpern Fingerhut, and
Yeah,
I
I've
just
noticed that.
every time I see that, I have no idea where the name comes from. Fingerhut just anyway, this is like a final little amusement at the end of every, comedy episode here. I apologize to the any Fingerhuts out there. If you know where your name comes from or what it means, please let us know. I would be very curious to find out.
We're gonna get canceled by the Finger Hut community.
Yes. All right. So this episode, after 2 happy months, Ted and Victoria hit a pothole when Victoria receives news she got a fancy dessert scholarship in Germany. As they decide what to do, Marshall buys an expensive suit and Lily ruins an expensive wedding dress, forcing Marshall to apply for a job at Barney's company instead of a nonprofit. Meanwhile, Robin deals with her jealousy of Victoria.
Excellent description.
Thank you. So we start with we see Ted and Victoria baking muffins in Ted's kitchen. Future Ted is narrating over this, saying, "Kids, when it comes to love, the best relationships are the ones that just come naturally." And here Ted is taking muffins out of the oven, and but Victoria points out that they're underbaked. Or sorry, they're cupcakes. It's a muffin did, but yeah. Ted is taking the cupcakes out of the oven, but Victoria points out that they're underbaked. She says, "If it's still runny, it's not a cupcake; it's a beverage." And I say, "Thank you, Victoria." She's a baker. She knows that you have to fully bake baked
Mhm.
goods and not just make hot, eggy goo. Mickey, what do you say to that?
Yeah, you're trying to start something and you know it. This has been a
Yeah.
long-standing debate between Nick and I because my immediate reaction to this was, "I don't see the problem. There's nothing wrong with underbaked goodies."
Yeah, you'll, like, put in, like, if it needs to go in 20 minutes, you'll take it out after 10 and, like, you're like, "Yep, good enough."
Oh, if that. Well, I really like brownies in particular. Cupcakes, I'm alright having them baked to completion, but brownies or chocolate chip cookies or something, oh my goodness, if I don't eat it in dough and batter form, it's I just want all melty and gooey in the mouth.
Uh, there's something wrong with the consistency of it when it's that underbaked. Like, oh, can't deal with it.
Oh, it's my favorite. I'll say these episodes are rough for me to watch because there's a lot of cupcakes in both of these episodes. I don't know how I made it through because I watched these a few times and every single time I was like, I have got to go get me a cupcake.
They look delicious.
Oh, man, and the frosting, she did just the right amount of frosting and sprinkles.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but, Ted plays on this, he sticks a straw in it, and he plays it making her drink it and make it cracking her up and then kissing her. Future Ted says, "Things with Victoria were fun and easy and uncomplicated. It was pretty great." And the narrator sounds like he's anticipating a bad outcome here. We are in the apartment, and Marshall's using a permanent marker to fill a hole in his nice pants, which have all these rips in it. It doesn't seem very effective given how the pants are going to move around, but no, it's what he's going with. Barney walks in the unlocked door to see this. Marshall explains that he has a big interview soon and can't sew, but doesn't own navy boxers. Now, first of all, Marshall, sewing isn't that hard. Second of all, did you ask Lily? She probably knows. Third, underwear is not that expensive. Just buy a pair. Like,
Can
you'll
you
be
say
fine. A little bit, yeah.
oh, I
Very,
can't.
very passably. I've repaired Will's toys a few times.
Oh, good for you, okay. I go
Yeah,
to
the
the tailor.
one very little bit of knowledge I remember from home ec class.
Oh, that's why you had sewing in home ec.
Yeah, you know, when high school's taught, like, useful life skills. It's actually good.
Here you are using it.
Yeah, but he says he's flat broke, and his only other options are tracksuit and birthday suit. Marshall says he's interviewing at the National Resource Defense Council, and this is his dream job, except it's an unpaid internship. And he says, and I'm mostly getting coffee. But the people I'm getting coffee for, their bosses are going to save the world. And I love the multiple layers of indirection in that joke. Barney offers to take Marshall to his personal tailor for one third the cost. And he says Marshall will need a suit for his wedding anyway. Marshall says no thanks, but then Barney rips the side off one of his pant legs, and then Marshall agrees.
They're like stripper pants.
Yeah. Now this is a mean move, but also Barney's right. Those pants were in terrible shape, and he should not have gone. Like he is probably doesn't need the suit he's gonna get, but he did need new suit pants. And like, okay, a suit at like Macy's is like at most $300, and that's today. So I think Marshall could have swung it if he needed to. Anyway, so we go to McLaren's. Robin and Lily are at the bar, wedding planning, and Victoria shows up next to sit next to Robin. Victoria says she was actually on her way to meet Ted for their 2-month anniversary, and I guess she decided to stop in the bar first. Like, why didn't she just go upstairs? Anyway, Robin is being unattractively catty again here. Lily scolds her and then badly covers for it, as if it's a reflection of how close that she and Victoria are. And Robin badly covers for it. Victoria, bless her heart, is touched by this and hugs Robin, which but Robin is repulsed by, and then covers against that too. Victoria notices they're dress shopping, and Victoria tells them that she makes cakes for a lot of fancy bridal shops and offers to get Lily a discount. Then Victoria gets a call and gets to take it. While Victoria's up, Robin expresses that she's upset that Victoria will be tagging along, whom she refers to as Punky Brewster. So, do you get this as a reference insult, Mickey?
I thought Punky Brewster was a TV dog from the 90s, so no, I don't get the
Dog?
reference.
Wait, looking at a dog.
What do you mean?
What dog? What dog are you thinking of?
I thought there was like a TV show about a dog named Punky Brewster.
No, this is the Punky Brewster is as a little kid.
Who's the
He was, like,
dog?
adopted by so I don't know, I think I may have, like, seen, like, one episode in the '90s or something, but it's about a little kid is the main character of that show. It's not a dog.
Okay. It's not a Canadian show, is it?
No, I don't think I have no idea, actually. There were, like, 2 shows on the time, I think, that had, like both had, like, little kids. One was Punky Brewster, and the other one was it Gary Coleman?
I was thinking Blossom, but I guess him too. Blossom might have been later.
Awesome.
That was with, Amy from The Big Bang Theory. She was Blossom. I didn't watch that. I just am aware of the hold on.
Well,
You
anyway, I
can
don't know what
Google
kind.
Punky Brewster while you're talking. I do want a visual. I don't know where I got the dog thing from.
Yeah, I can't even like, there were a series of children's books that had a big dog in them, named was it Pinkerton or something?
I don't know. Also,
Uh,
I'm noticing I was rewatching this, I forgot to put it in my notes, but you're right. Victoria actually does like to wear a lot of sparkles. I think that's one more reason I like
yeah.
her. Interesting that Robin wouldn't be attracted to sparkles.
Yes, very interesting, Mickey. Yeah, so I don't know what the reference like, insult is, like, like, maybe Punky Brewster was very spunky or something and happy because that seems to be what Victoria's doing right now, but don't know why it's supposed to be an insult, except Robin is just being catty. So Lily tells Robin to get over it. She had her chance and urges her to be happy for them. Robin says the best she can do is a fake smile and dead eyes as if she's negotiating, and Lily says, sold. Victoria comes back over looking distressed, and she says she's been offered a fellowship at a culinary institute in Germany. And then we kind of pick up right the conversation at the bar where she's having a date with Ted, and Ted is just reacting to the news that she might be going to Germany. Victoria explains that she didn't think she had much of a chance. Ted, is processing this, but he quickly does say congratulations. Victoria says she doesn't know if she'll go. Ted asks what it means for us. Like, if she does go, she doesn't know, but she thinks long distance won't work for anyone. Ted agrees. In July, teenagers tell each other to get laid this summer before college. So they decide it's either she stays or they break up. Ted says, well, let's just, take some time. And it turns out she has to leave Monday. It's such short notice for this fellowship.
Right?
maybe she was, like, on some wait list or something, and she just found out.
Because think about the logistics.
Yeah.
She's a small business owner. I'm sure she's renting an
Mhm.
apartment. There's a lot of logistical things she would have to take care of besides her relationship between now and what day is this, Friday?
Yeah, yeah, and, like, no chance to, like, defer to next year if she wanted to, like, there was no flexibility, not even a discussion of the possibilities, like, it was just like, it's gonna this or nothing, and, of course, there's no other explanation about, like, why this is so important to her, but we can talk more
Yeah.
about that later.
I mean, she looks
Uh,
excited, but yeah, we don't get a lot of backstory, you're right, on Victoria's career
um,
ambitions, I guess.
yeah, like, did she apply for this, like, after she had met Ted or, like,
Good question.
'cause she
Mm,
mentioned, like, she didn't think she would get it, but, like, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, we can come back to this, yeah, so, Victoria asks Ted's thoughts, and Ted says they should both sleep on it and meet to talk about it tomorrow. And here future Ted finishes off his earlier intro, and that's when things got complicated. We cut to commercial. When we come back from commercial, we're at the split screen with the tailor shop and the dress shop. Marshall's on the phone with Lily, and then Lily's getting her measurements taken. Lily says that the bridal shop is like shopping in a marshmallow because it's all fluffy and white. And of course, there's this really funny moment because the shopkeeper is like taking her measurements, and there's one moment where like, she measures her neck and then like it briefly chokes Lily, and you can see it like her reacting to it. And then as she's asking Marshall about what's like there, and Marshall says it's dark and sketchy, and it seems illegal, like Barney's mind. Marshall hangs up, and then we stay with the tailor shop. Apparently, the tailor is in the back of a pet store. And Barney says, "Do you want a suit with a free rabbit or not?" Which we don't see a rabbit at the end, so apparently there is no free rabbit, or maybe Marshall like rightly refused. And there's just like a bunch of like bags of pet food strewn around, what otherwise looks like a tailor shop. And the tailor says something to Barney in Ukrainian. Apparently, Barney speaks Ukrainian. And then the camera pans with Barney over to the other side of the room where Ted is sitting at a desk moping. Apparently, his energy is distracting the tailor. Ted is venting about his situation. Marshall shoots down long distance and says it's for girls, and he says, all talking, no sex, kill me now. And he tries to high five Barney. It kind of seems like Marshall's posturing, though, like trying to be manly with other men.
mhm.
But Barney leaves him hanging, saying he's juggling 4 long distance relationships right now. Then Barney steps right in front of Marshall, blocking him in front of the camera, which is kind of funny. And he adjusts his suit. Apparently, there's like supposed to be a mirror where the camera is. And he rattles off a few women's names, ends with one who happens to live in New York City, actually, but who thinks he's a humble sheep shearer from Killarney in that Irish accent, which I did not
Hey,
do a good job with.
no, that was pretty good.
Well, thank you. Let's hope that Irish listeners will not let us know how terrible it is. Marshall reminds Ted about a summer art program in Paris that Lily did in college. Lily apparently like talked a lot about the cheesy French guy named Gabriel. Marshall went out there to visit halfway through, and he encountered Gabriel, said they had a weak ass French mustache. It was a weird little dude that he could take. And this whole like jealous thing Marshall's doing here is also not very attractive. Like he's kind of being proud about like how he could like beat this person up or whatever.
Mm.
And he like doesn't know anything about like what's going on here. All he knows is that this person's been hanging out with Lily. That's it, right? So anyway, he says he's
Yeah.
got all quiet and got the crazy eye going, and told them to stay away from Lily, or I swear to God, I'll eat that mustache right off your face. And apparently, Gabriel ran away crying. Although, I mean, we'll find out later, but like this is painting a kind of funny picture of Marshall being like macho and bullying someone, which we'll find out it's even worse than it seems. Marshall says he never told Lily about it because he wasn't very proud of it, but then admits he actually is proud of it, which you probably shouldn't be, Marshall. Like, especially someone like you think you like, if you think you can beat someone up, you should not be that kind of person to them. Like, if you're secure enough in who you are, and you shouldn't have to, bully someone.
Yeah.
Be less proud of that, Marshall. Ted asks if the story has a point besides confirming European stereotypes about Americans. And Marshall says the point is that long distance almost killed their perfect relationship, and says that that Ted should ask Victoria to stay. Although I think there's maybe a point to this about like long distance, not in like creating dangers for the relationship on each end necessarily, but in the distance between the two people, making assumptions about what's going on the other end, and either being jealous or you know because you're not spending time with the person, you're kind of spinning out on what's going on and that's what's gonna ruin the relationship, not actually being apart, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I guess what the problems that the distance, like, not the distance itself, but you're saying, like, the problems that the distance can create, like those miscommunications.
Yeah, like, the insecurities that are apparently can bubble up and take over, and we'll definitely see, how that relates, to Ted and, Victoria, shortly. Barney comes in at this point to say to Ted that he doesn't actually know Victoria all that well, which is true. Although Barney makes a joke about, like, having three-way calling because it's a three-way, ha ha. Ha. Which, yeah, that used to be a big feature of cell phone and like our phone plans generally. Like you can like have a third person on the same phone call. Of course, now we just have Zooms and everything, and you can just that's just normal.
Yeah, and you can merge
Um,
calls and
yeah, I actually don't think I've ever done that.
merge to call?
Yeah.
Oh, I do it multiple times a week for work, but I
Oh,
had
sure.
to
Yeah.
get used to it. Yeah, and, like, Barney's saying all this because, like, I guess he says he does more research than this before buying a cell phone, which I don't know. Barney doesn't actually seem that selective with, the woman in his life, but
Well, I think his point is he does more research for a cell phone than Ted is about women. So he's not really comparing. He's comparing women to cell phones, really.
and while not delivered in the best way, it's not a bad point, you wanna do your research.
Yeah, and it's clear Ted doesn't actually know that much about Victoria at this point. And Ted picks up one thing that Barney mentioned, being a dog person, and he's convinced that he can only ever be attracted to dog people, which is a weird thing to think. But he calls Victoria to confirm this, and then we get this split screen with Victoria at the bridal shop. He asks her if she likes cats, and she says that she hates the musical but loves the animal. And Ted just hangs up at that and dejectedly sits down, realizing Barney is right.
Gotta
Hmm?
gotta jump in here. You can be a
Oh,
cat
sure,
and a dog person. You can swing both
you can.
ways. I
I know
I
it's
consider myself both. So, like, if someone called me and said, do you like cats?" I'd say, "Yes." I'm still a dog person too.
That's a good point. Yeah, he didn't ask. I mean, I'm sure it's for the purpose of the joke, but yeah, he didn't ask about dogs. He asked about cats as if they were separate things. Yeah, so that's a mistake on Ted's part. So Barney approves some fabric from the tailor, and Marshall tries to assert himself, but Barney dismisses him and that please, and gives him a pin cushion to play with. The tailor puts the suit jacket on Marshall, though. Apparently, it was ready very quickly, and Marshall loves it. Barney says that he can't let Marshall waste a suit that good on NRDC, so that he should interview at his office. Apparently, they get sued a lot, and so they need a lot of lawyers. Marshall says that he doesn't sell out, but Barney points out that he'd be making 4 times Lily's annual salary. So Marshall still says no, though. Ted says that he's made a decision too, and he doesn't want to be the jerk that made Victoria give up a big opportunity if it doesn't work out. It's too much pressure on a new relationship, which I kind of agree with. You
Mhm.
know,
Go with your first instinct, Ted.
so Ted walks out, and then we cut to the restaurant where Ted and Victoria are at the table, and Victoria just has this huge smile on her face the whole time, and Ted's telling her about his decision, but she interrupts him to give him a cupcake. She makes a crack about it being what happens when you let them finish baking, and again, this cupcake looks delicious,
Oh my god, right?
and Ted takes it and then tells her to stay, which, I mean, that cupcake, yeah, I would agree, like, that would be like, "Hey,
Don't let her
bake."
go, Ted.
Yeah, we go to commercial break. Then we come back, we've rewound back in time, we're seeing the split screen again with the tailor shop and dress shop, with Marshall on the phone. We see them, finishing up, and we stay on Lily this time. The shopkeeper finishes measuring Lily and asks what kind of dress she wants. And Lily says, "Nothing too huge or poofy, but I want to look like a beautiful princess." Robin mentions a couple up front that look nice by the window, and the shopkeeper says they're out of Lily's price range and leaves to find the dresses. Lily is very offended by this, but Victoria explains that they're experts. They can guess annual income by looking at your underwear. Lily is annoyed at herself for going on for an Old Navy sale for underwear for this purpose. Victoria raises a glass to the free champagne, though, and Robin adds and cake. Robin then brings up Victoria's donut fellowship. Lily smacks the table with a champagne bottle and gives Robin a look, and Robin's like, "What?" Victoria vents about the situation to them. Lily genuinely repeats the line that Marshall play after that before, saying, "I'll talk in those X kill me now." So yeah, you get this like inversion. Like Marshall was kind of like, yeah, pretending to be macho about it, and Lily's just genuine, like, that sucks. I want the sex. So Victoria says she thinks Ted might be the one, says that it would be hard to walk away from him. But then Robin, she's trying to like kind of like edge of Victoria towards, giving it up. She says she feels Stepford for turning down a huge opportunity to chase some guy she only known for a couple months. And Victoria says Ted isn't just some guy. He's the best man she knows. Robin tries to talk up German guys very unconvincingly. She says here, I would let them bread my schnitzel any of a day if you know what I mean. Victoria says, I really don't. And Robin, well, is this sex? And then as we're pulling out, Victoria looks like she's pondering. I was like, okay, I get this. And this reminds me so much of some a couple similar scenes in Arrested Development, where they're really bad attempts at innuendo.
Oh, yeah.
So I think yeah, Lindsay says this. Maybe if I can get Hope in this crown, her father might just crown me. If you catch my drift. And then Michael says, I assume have sex, but that's meeting you more than halfway. So the shopkeeper comes back and Robin hands her the empty bottle, says, this bastard's kicked. So Robin's just really a character today. The shopkeeper rolls her eyes and takes it away as Lily comes out with her first dress, which looks ridiculous. Maybe like 70s era rednecks would wear that. And at first, Robin and Victoria make positive sounds, but then Lily tells them that's okay and they agree it's awful. Robin says it's the most of wedding dresses. When you were trying on wedding dresses, Mickey, did you have any terrible dresses like this?
No, well, first of all, I wouldn't have bothered to put a dress like that on. Obviously, for the episode,
Mhm.
it works. It's really funny. First, I'll just say I went to David's bridal because I find wedding dresses overpriced. But I ended up trying on maybe like 5 or 6 dresses, and I ended up going with the very first one.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Nice.
Yeah, that sparkly halter top one.
So Lily takes off the veil, starts to talk about the college art program from her perspective. Lily said it was really lonely. She only had one friend, Gabrielle, who was homely and strange looking and self conscious about this little mustache, and mysteriously stopped talking to Lily halfway through the summer, which made Lily really depressed because she had nobody. She advises Victoria to stay if she really thinks Ted is her soulmate.
Did Lily ever use pronouns, by the way, when she told Marshall about Gabriel?
Apparently not.
Because Gabriel ended up being, a girl.
Yeah. Uh, I mean, I'm obviously it's arranged this way for the show, but it would probably be hard to avoid. I mean, there's through lines. Actually, there's another one later in the show about like forgetting to use pronouns or avoiding pronouns to not
Oh,
reveal
mhm.
the
Some people
gender
do
of.
that.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it is very funny though that they both had this story and from completely different perspectives and never told each other about it.
The whole thing worked really well as a joke, though.
It did, yeah. Per Gabrielle. So Lily advises Victoria to stay if she really thinks Ted is her soulmate. But Victoria says it's too soon. But I mean, Victoria just said he could be the one. So make up your mind, Victoria.
Fair. I think they're both like in this weird space where they've known each other long
Well,
enough that it could be a possibility, but not quite long enough to have all the information necessary to make that decision. If it had been like 2 weeks, I think this would have been a much shorter episode.
oh, sure. Just then, Ted calls to ask his out of context question about cats. Robin mutters to Lily that she's not surprised Victoria's a cat person as Lily goes on to try another dress. After he hangs up, Victoria wonders if he's getting a cat because, of course, there's the pet sounds.
That was a good detail.
Yeah, that was a really fun setup because like you why is there a pet shop? Oh, that's this joke. So yeah, Robin suggests that he's gonna actually buy her one, and Victoria realized that sounded like a pet store. Robin suggests it's actually emotional blackmail, and Victoria says that's low and asks Robin if she's serious. And Victoria's being very sweet and like trusting Robin here, and Robin's being kind of devious. Robin says that she shouldn't wait and should just leave. And I'm kind of getting sick of jealous Robin at this point. Like
Same.
it's kind of overplayed. Lily comes back out with another dress, and again, we got these awes, but Lily calls them out for being sucky liars. It's another terrible dress. And Victoria says that, we're doing this all wrong, and she's going to get one of the nice dresses from the front just for fun. And I think Victoria's being a really good friend here. Like,
Mhm.
she's like a genuinely good person, is trying to like help people out. And yeah, in contrast to Robin. Lily checks in with Robin at this point, though, and sounds like, you know, Robin's trying to hustle her out of the country. Robin says no, she's just trying to support her super important dessert scholarship. Lily tells Robin to stop being sarcastic and admits that it's really hard to say that seriously. Lily again appeals to Robin to be happy because she makes Ted happy. Then Victoria runs back in with the dress. It looks great. Lily excitedly goes to try it on. She says this dress is totally going to get me laid on my wedding night. Victoria says to Robin, "Oh, look how happy she is." Victoria cuts herself a slice of cake on the floor and talks about how she always saw herself as an independent woman who would never let a guy mess with her career. But now she's thinking about it and she feels kind of guilty, like it's unfeminist. And the Robin at this point is starting to like, relate to Victoria because she's always put her career first, and there are a lot of lonely nights in that job description, she says. Victoria says that's what she's afraid of. Robin sits down on the floor next to Victoria, puts her hand on her knee, and assures Victoria that it wouldn't make her unfeminist to choose Ted, that maybe just means that they would be happy together. Victoria says that Robin's the coolest, Robin says the same, and they toast. Victoria says she'll stay, which Robin is struggling with, but she's kind of, accepting, or starting to anyway.
Robin turned it around. First of all, I think Lily actually did a really good job of lovingly calling Robin out, and it seems like Robin listened.
It took a while, but yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, then Lily comes out in this amazing modern gown. Lily looks in the mirror and says, "Oh, don't tell me how much this costs. Just snap my neck now so I can tie this pretty." So that was a pretty fun line.
Great.
Lily then asks how much it actually is on a scale of never to never ever, and Robin answers, "Never, ever, 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 ever times infinity," which we later learn is $8,000. Is that right?
Something like that. What did I tell you? Wedding dresses are so over. You know what actually was the most expensive part, at least for me? The dress itself was like a few $100s, but actually probably what was equally expensive was me getting the dress not tailored, but like modified basically.
Mhm.
Like they add in the bustle and like bring it in and
Sure. I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense. How expensive was yours, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm trying to remember. I want to say it was maybe like $300 for the dress itself, and then maybe a couple hundred more to, yeah, I get God, why am I blanking?
No, that's
Not
not bad
tailored.
actually.
What is the word I'm thinking of? You sew.
Retouched? No.
Alterations.
Okay, yeah.
Good lord. Yeah, the alterations were probably another couple $100. Advice out there to ladies, don't bother spending that extra, $100 on getting a bustle installed because, I forgot to, button mine up after the ceremony.
What is a bustle?
A bustle's, like, with the wedding dresses, sometimes, like, there's a long it's called a train, it's like
Uh-huh.
the long bit of the dress that trails behind you when you're walking down the aisle, but then the
Sure.
rest of the night, wanna kinda button it back up so you're not tripping on it, it's not, like, being dragged around all night, and I got so distracted, I completely forgot to have somebody, button the dress in the back up so that it wasn't dragging around all night.
So the bustle is the thing that buttons?
Yeah, mine wasn't that long, so I can see how I did that.
But yeah, 300 is not bad, I guess, for
No,
a
I
dress.
mean, our whole wedding, like, we were certainly on the low end, and that was very intentional, and I think was a good call.
Yeah, so, Lily should have just gone the day of bridals then. Like, "What you doing here?" Yeah, so, Lily takes off the veil and then kind of resignedly sits back on the table and directly onto a cake. Robin and Victoria look horrified, but Lily just assumes they're reacting to how she looks and just, "It's okay. The important thing is that Marshall and her love each other." And Victoria like, maybe seems like she's about to break, like, she's covering her mouth and, like, she's, like, almost smiling, I think. Robin says, "Yes, you're right,
Yeah,
but
totally.
also you just sat down on the cake." Victoria tries to say, "It'll come out because," and she's realizing how crazy this is, "it's just chocolate and raspberry."
Didn't she feel it sitting down on that cake?
It looks like it's kind of a light cake, and she's kind of, like, in this dream state, it seems like.
Okay.
And then Lily gets up so they can inspect, and we hear something tear really badly. And then just then the shopkeeper comes in horrified. Lily lamely says it was like that when she found it. The shopkeeper asks how she'll be paying for it, and Lily responds, "Credit card." Zzz, and Robin wins. So, and of course, the bad thing is like she has to pay for it, but it's not going to be wearable. It's just destroyed. So, yeah, she's bought a useless wedding dress for really expensive.
Oh, painful.
Yeah.
Like cringe comedy.
So we go to the restaurant. So we're kind of back in the present day. We've seen both sides of the story of the day, and Victoria's presenting Ted with a cupcake. We, we rehear Ted say he wants her to stay. And at this point, we think it's awesome because she also wants him to stay. But then she says she has to go. So they both decide to put the other first, and then they both change their minds at the end to be selfish. And we cut to commercial. When we're back from the commercial, we're at the restaurant again, and they unravel their decision process. Victoria asks if there's any chance he'd move to Germany with her. Ted says that's crazy, which it kind of is, but Ted says it in a really bad way. Victoria's put off by this, how quickly he dismissed it. And though he realizes that the argument somewhat works the same backwards, they haven't been in the relationship long enough to have a big life move hinge on it. Ted says that he hates that they'll have to break up. And we go at the apartment. Marshall is admiring himself in the new suit, and he's showing off and like waiting for Ted to notice. And Ted's venting in the kitchen to him about all this. And Ted finally admits the suit is awesome, which Marshall like hammondly, you know, appreciates. Marshall points out that they didn't have to break up right then. She isn't leaving till tomorrow, and so they should just spend one more amazing date together, doing like awesome air kicks.
Like with
Ted agrees.
your leg, though.
Yeah, yeah. Like if you're gonna lose your leg tomorrow, then do everything you can with it before then. Ted agrees, and then the caps off the scene with showing off his apparently new pajama bottoms, which was echoing Marshall's thing, but I don't know, I didn't find this particular
Eh,
joke funny. At McLaren's, Victoria and Ted are at the bar, and Ted is explaining Marshall's theory, and Victoria's making fun of the leg analogy. But we can see they're still having good chemistry. Ted kind of like pushes it to her face because she's being ridiculous about it. Victoria says she isn't sure. Ted is like, why end in a fight? Like, let's have some good time.
it's not a f it wasn't a fight, though. It was just a breakup.
Well, it was a dispute. It was like they both wanted separate things, and like they were breaking. So it's kind of a fight. Something that is like lives a bad taste in your mouth, versus like spending a good day together, which is what they're about to do.
Mhm.
Yeah, Victoria says she's unsure, which I'm not like. Why would she not be sure? Why not? What would the downside be?
I get
So
it.
yeah, Victoria,
I do
you do?
kinda get well, okay, so, from personal experience, and this is slightly different, but I was dating a guy years ago, and, it was about 4 months into the relationship, so again, kinda
Mhm.
similar where, like, we knew each other well enough where things might have been progressing towards someone I want potentially in my life long term, or, but I don't quite know them well enough yet, and he revealed that he had actually applied for a job in a different state, and he got it.
Um,
And, I actually don't remember. I think he had actually applied before he met me, but anyway, he wanted to, continue to date until he left. I said no because I thought it would be too painful to prolong it. I didn't really see the point of continuing to
sure.
date, when we knew that we were gonna break up. However, that was, like he told me, like, he left a month later. It was none of this, "Oh, I have to leave on
Oh,
Monday."
longer, yeah.
If it'd been one day, okay, I could see that.
Hmm. Fair enough. So, Victoria says, "Well, what would you want to do?" And Ted suggests they do all the things they talked about but haven't done yet. So like to go to the Met, walk across the Brooklyn Bridge, see monkeys at the zoo. And the future Ted says, "And kids, that's exactly what we did with our last day." And he's looking things off as we see them making out over and over in bed. McLaren's again. Robin's telling Lily that she has to tell Marshall about the dress. Lily says that she will wait for Marshall to screw up, and then she'll slip it in so that it won't seem so bad by comparison. And Robin says, "Here's hoping he cheats on you." And Lily agrees, but only to second base. Marshall and Barney are at the bar showing off their suits. Marshall brings over beers to both. It's dollar beer night, apparently, and he splurged by getting one for each of them. And,
Aw.
this is all, Lily is definitely hearing this. Barney asks about Marshall applying for a Barney cork. Barney shows Marshall the bill from the tailor, which is shockingly high, $4,000. So apparently it's a $12,000 suit. Barney seems to have set him up to need a high paying job. And Barney like acts like he's disputing this, but he says, "I certainly did." He doesn't say not. Marshall says it won't work. He'll just get 2 extra jobs first. He's like promising to Lily he's make it work, and even though it'll be hard. And then Lily tells him about the dress, and he swallows hard and asks Barney when the interview is. And Barney says 9 a.m., but he'll need new shoes. He knows a guy, so it'll be okay. So yeah, that was all funny. We go to the airport, where there's the shortest security line ever. Victoria says that she loved the awesome air kicks, and Ted says, "Yeah, he was almost too tired for all the sex." And there's a payphone sighting right behind them.
Oh,
Those things went extinct. They say goodbye, but then she decides to dangle this, "If we're still single when I get back" line, and Ted jokes, "Even if we're not." And then, Victoria goes for one last kiss, and then I thought they acted this pretty well, like, this whole, like, goodbye scene, they looked, like, longingly and,
Mm.
like, not wanting to leave each other. Then she, goes off to security, but then Ted at the last minute asked you from across the short, small room, even if it rarely works, should they try long distance? And she immediately accepts. And of course, this brings on another Arrested Development quote that is very highly memed, where Tobias and Lindsay are on the bed, and Tobias is talking about open relationships. And Lindsay asks, "Well, did it work for those people?" Because sometimes he advises couples who are having trouble to try that. And Tobias says, "No, it never does. I mean, those people somehow delude themselves into thinking it might, but it might work for us." And so this is used a lot online, and I love it. So
I thought
anyway,
you were gonna say,
Victoria,
"I've made a huge mistake."
yeah, absolutely. So Victoria runs back in for the kiss, and they give each other false assurances that of course it'll work. They'll beat the odds. But future Ted says, of course, it didn't work. Long distance was and is a terrible idea. A really terrible idea. Just awful. But more on that later. And we cut the credits. Where we see Stewart's helper and Fingerhut's name. So yeah, let's discuss some things about this episode. One thing is, so why is this a culinary institute so important for Victoria's career? Like, she seems to have a wildly successful bakery business in New York City. Like, she's apparently making all these cakes for wedding shops. She has like she's like serving these like really expensive weddings. They never quite explain like what this is supposed to be for, what she wants to get out of it. Why is this like so important that she like would have to do it now rather than do it later? Or like, I guess it didn't establish that she really needed this, like, she wanted it for a long time. It would, like, help her to do, like, these things with her career that she couldn't do now. Yeah, so I guess I wish I understood more about why it was so important for Victoria to do this.
Yeah, that's a good question. I can see like in and of itself wanting maybe the experience of studying abroad, so to speak. I could see that a draw. Like, but then again, we also don't even know that much about Victoria as far as does she have a yearning for travel? Does is that part of her long term plans to live out of the country, for example? I guess we're kind of as in the dark as Ted is about Victoria.
Yeah, true. Actually, on the official podcast, they were, like, saying how they wish they had, like, just, like, 2 extra episodes to add more Victoria into the show. So maybe we'd have learned more then, but
I would have loved that. I'm so sad she's
yeah.
journey. I'd be like, "Stay, make me cupcakes, Victoria."
Yeah, I mean, long distance, what are your thoughts on long distance? Like, making a big life decision on, like, such a short relationship doesn't make sense. Long distance on such a short relationship doesn't make sense either.
Mhm.
If you don't have that strong basis to start from, then yeah, then the same threats exist. So, yeah, I think that's you'd have to have a longer ship anyway to even think about long distance having being successful. Or, like, or at least an end goal that's a plan when it would no longer be long distance.
I
Yeah.
completely agree. I've done long distance twice. Actually, my first 2 boyfriends were long distance for all or part of it. So, yeah, the second boyfriend, I met him on a cruise ship. So we only dated a couple months, and so obviously it was long distance the whole time, and there was no need to commit to somebody, that I met on vacation that, it was just from the get-go, you don't know someone long enough to know, is this really worth it? And then, my first boyfriend, we dated a year, then, he went off to college, and, then we, dated 4 years after that, and obviously, when you and I went to the same college, and, as you know, he was, at a college that, was, like, really, like, a half hour away, but when neither of us had a car, it may as well have been long distance, so, yeah, basically, like, the last 4 out of the 5 years of that relationship was long distance, and, I think, your point that you need to kinda have an end goal in mind. It can't necessarily be indefinite, at least for me. I don't want to speak to all relationships, but certainly for me, you have to have been with that person long enough and you need to have, okay, so like when is, let's have like a light at the end of the tunnel. What are we working toward here?
Yeah, yeah, and, it really doesn't help that, like, they didn't have a lot of time to talk about a plan before the decision was
Mhm.
made. It does seem like, at least as far as our chemistry and connection is concerned, like, that was pretty solid. they probably should have gotten to the point where, like, yeah, we can definitely see this going at least a couple years. Like it would last longer than the time apart would be normally. Like their time horizon for each other maybe was like on measured in a couple months, maybe. Like, yeah, at least like we think we'll be together within like 2 months. I think we'll even talk about this in another episode, like how far ahead you plan events with a significant other, like depending like how far ahead do you see still being with the person.
Yeah, and will there be visits? What will communication look
Mm,
like? What are the parameters here as far as, some people might have different boundary. They might be,
yeah.
more open to, an open relationship, for example.
Mm, yeah.
Here, bad idea.
Yeah, yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, the 2-year thing is really the killer for that. Yeah, so actually in the very first scene with when she's telling Ted, she says 2 years, and for some reason, like, until I heard it on the official because they interviewed Ashley Williams on for the previous episode, they started talking about, like, later episodes, and so they said 2 years, like, was it really 2 years? I, for some reason, always missed that it's 2 years until I rewatched it and confirmed myself that that line was in
How
there.
long did you think it was?
I thought, like, maybe it was a summer thing or, like,
Oh.
maybe a year at most.
Yeah, like, a summer thing, that would've been a completely different situation.
Like, this is a master's program, like, why is it 2 years long?
Listeners, right in.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe this thing exists and it makes sense for it to be that long. Are are Germans known for their pastries?
Oh, goodness, yes. I spent 2 months in Germany, and, oh my lord, I ate well. I had, like, strudel and stuff like that. It's no
Fair
joke.
enough.
It's so
I'm 3 quarters German, so I just insulted my people, I guess.
Yeah, 'cause you haven't been to Germany, right?
I've only been to an airport in Frankfurt once.
I'll give you half credit.
No, that's not even half credit. Although I guess I did have, oh, what was it? It was like a breakfast what's the pretzel? Or not pretzel, but it was like a breakfast pretzel. Maybe this maybe is that a schnitzel? What does a schnitzel look like?
Well, I think schnitzel's just breaded meat, right? Oh, strudel?
Strudel. Wow.
A
I don't
breakfast
know.
pretzel. That
Strudel, schnitzel.
sounds delicious, first of all. Breakfast pretzel.
Yeah.
I have no idea what it would be, but sounds delicious.
Yes, I guess I did have a German pastry. Yeah, I guess I would have thought, like, maybe France would be a more natural thing for them to mention.
German food, actually, I went to a German restaurant last night, actually, ironically. I think German food is vastly underrated. It's comfort food, and the pastries
Mm.
are delicious. So I don't blame her.
We were going to talk about like the causes of the problems in long distance relationships. Did we say enough about that?
I think we did, miscommunications, insecurity. I guess I actually I liked your point about how Ted and Victoria didn't really have a lot of time to give it a good think and discuss if a long distance relationship was on the table, what would that look like? And I mean, maybe that's what led them to make kind of a rash decision in the first place and set themselves up for failure in a way. 'Cause I mean, it's
Mm,
no spoiler. We can always see the foreshadowing in this episode that it doesn't work out. I mean, that's going to be more on one person's side than the other. There's more of a yeah cause to anyway. I'm not going to get into that yet, but I maybe I think I said this maybe like the last episode, but I was kind of teasing that Victoria in some ways might be perfect for Ted because they're both so damn fickle and easily influenced by external events. Like just that one scene, where Tori gives Ted the cupcake and they're both coming into this intending to propose completely different things and then both of them just by
yeah.
what happens at the dinner table completely do a 180. It's so they're almost like mirroring one another and Ted even kind of jokes, wait, is this opposite day? So I think maybe part of that is because they weren't, afforded an ample opportunity to really think critically through what are our options here, what's gonna best serve my needs and this other person's needs, but also I think it's just, like, their personalities.
Mm, yeah, that's true.
Like, I don't blame them, nobody wants to break up for something like that. I could see why they would be a little impulsive at the end. Obviously, here I did it. I think it was a mistake, but, in my early 20s and, I just wanted to
Mm,
hold on so hard to that person, and it's hard to see that that might not be the best thing for everybody.
yeah, yeah. Well, I guess we'll see quickly how this goes for them.
Pretty quickly.
Yeah, in the next episode, I'll definitely have some thoughts about how they're handling the long distance part of this. So I guess we can defer more discussion about that. So any that's a lots in this episode, Mickey?
Think you kinda caught a few of them as we went through the episode, but, the one I
Yeah.
thought of was, bragging about three-way calling.
Ah, yeah, that's a good one. I was gonna say payphone.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I guess, what did you rate the episode?
I'll give this one 3.5 out of 5 finger huts.
Okay. I will give it 4 out of 5 schnitzels.
Nice.
So, I was tempted to drop it down to 3 because Jealous Robin was so annoying, but she did start pulling out of the dive this episode, and the rest of it was pretty good. So, yeah, stuck with 4. I don't like the half point system. I feel like I should stick with whole numbers. Alright, shall we move on?
Yeah, yeah. Well, my episode was Life Among the Gorillas. Air date was March 20th of 2006. I'll start with the episode description before discussing the guest stars, just to try it out. Marshall conducts an anthropological experiment to try to fit into the corporate culture of his internship at Barney's company, much to Lily's annoyance. Meanwhile, Ted goes to Robin for help in trying to maintain his long distance relationship with Victoria, probably much to Robin's annoyance as well. So, we've got a few guest stars here. Dr. Aurelia Bernholtz Vasquez. I initially thought, honest to God, I thought it was Sigourney Weaver. Right? It looks like her, right?
I can see why you went that way,
Especially in the
but
photo. Once we get to the classroom scene, I realized, okay, that's not actually Sigourney Weaver, but based on the photo, I was like, oh, I didn't know she was in that episode. Listeners, it wasn't Sigourney Weaver, tragically. It was Diane Louise Salinger. I didn't really recognize her from much. That's actually the case for all these guest stars that I looked up. I didn't really know the stuff they'd been in. Blauman was Taran Killam, and Bilson was played by Brian Callen. One of them had barely been in anything, actually. So I just don't have much to add about them.
isn't Taran Killam in, SNL?
Was he? One of them looked a little familiar, but when I was going through his IMDb, the
Yeah, he was on SNL from 2010 to 2016.
well, maybe that's where I recognized him from, but I don't think I was watching a lot of SNL at that time. But okay, well, there you go. Good for him. Who's in SNL? So the episode begins in 1988. We find a young Marshall Erickson reading a book in his childhood bedroom. And future Ted says when your Uncle Marshall was 10 years old, he read a book called Life Among the Gorillas by Dr. Aurelia Bernholtz Vasquez. And it told the story of the years she spent living among the western lowland gorillas of Cameroon. So there's a few little images of gorillas, and then we find ourselves in a classroom. And apparently, the author had come to a local community college, and 10-year-old Marshall attended. He was the youngest person there, and he raised his hand and asked a question. Oh my God, this kid's so adorable. He asked, "What advice do you have for a budding anthropologist?" And Dr. Bernholtz Vasquez says, "Oh, you want to be an anthropologist?" And he says, "Yes, I'm gonna, grow up and live amongst the gorillas just like you. I'm gonna do what you did." And she said, "Oh, that's wonderful, but I'm afraid you can't because they'll all be dead by then."
And of course, this is a takeoff on, Jane Goodall.
Yeah, presumably. And thank goodness that ended up not being true. But we do get a little bit of insight into what led Marshall not actually to pursue, I guess in this case, it would have been biological or physical anthropology, like your sister, but what led him to go to law school and focus on environmental law. So, next scene, we're in the apartment. It's 2006, and got to Marshall lecturing Ted about economic sanctions and trade restrictions. And if they're not enforced, then the destructions of the rainforest will continue. Million species will be wiped out. And so Ted says, "So you don't want coffee?" Of course, revealing what got Marshall on this tangent in the first place. Marshall launches right back in. Ted threatens to pour the coffee out, but Marshall says, "No, no, no, I actually do need a cup. Like, the kid's got to be sharp." I don't know how many times we've seen this, but Marshall, like, he kind of has a nickname for himself. He's the kid. Do we know where that
Mhm.
comes from? Do we ever find out where that comes from?
I wanna say just vaguely college, but
Hmm. So Ted's teasing Marshall that the kid has become the man. As we know from the last episode, Marshall's quote unquote sold out because he's on the hook for a $4,000 suit and Lily's on the hook for an $8,000 destroyed wedding dress. So Marshall's gonna go make a little money, and you know what? I'll put this out here right now as somebody who focused on public interest law and took nothing but unpaid internships throughout her law school career. Good on you, Marshall. Go get some green. You're gonna need it, man.
Yeah, having a real job with real money is nice after a lot of education.
It's not the worst. It's isn't it nice that we're finally getting paid money now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's money is great, guys. It's nice if you can balance it with your dreams and something that's good for other people. So, Lily adorably has made Marshall a sack lunch, and when she hands it to him, she giggles. Now I feel like I have to be hypercritical of Marshall for not living his life in an eco-friendly way as an environmental lawyer, but you know that I'm not going to be obnoxious about it. Well, I'm assuming he's going to end up tossing the sack in the garbage. He could just get a lunch pail.
True.
Yeah, yeah, you know, I'm not going to poop all over Marshall. He's trying to do the right thing here.
Yeah, what is the paper bag? Yeah, there's so many better ways to anyway, okay, yeah,
I feel
that
like
was a good point.
Marshall is the kind of person too who would have like a cartoon lunchbox and proudly bring it to the office. Marshall, he's suited up. He's got his sack lunch. He opens the door. He's off to on his first day of the internship, and there's a care package in the front door, and Ted kind of groans, and we learn that so Victoria's been in Germany for about a month now. They've been doing a month of long distance, and Victoria sent him a couple pretty awesome care packages, but Ted's feeling guilty because he has not sent her one yet. Ted sits down on the couch. He's eating the cupcake. Of course, it's delicious, and he's kind of going through like a self-loathing spiral. He's just stuffing the cupcake in his mouth and saying, "Oh God, I hate myself." And Marshall makes a comment like, "Oh, that was me at 15." So maybe we're led to believe that Marshall was like a chubby kid or something.
Or like self-hating or something or like yeah, he was, I guess, a depressed little kid who ate a lot.
Well, but Marshall, he is off, on his first day of this internship, and future Ted explains that Marshall is going to go work for Barney's company, which is called Ultracell. And we get this like delightful little image of these, bouncy little yellow tennis balls bouncing up and down. There's a blue, like cloudy sky backdrop in the background. It's very happy and peaceful. And future Ted explains that the company, yeah, they made the yellow fuzzy stuff that goes on the tennis balls. Of course, they did other things because they're a big company. And then we get this great montage of, oil drilling and smokestacks and like weapons manufacturing. And, but then we cut back to, the bouncing tennis balls with the blue sky backdrop. And future Ted says, oh, they mainly wanted the public to focus on the yellow fuzzy stuff. So that was pretty funny.
So, do we ever find out when Barney changes companies?
Does
Because in the late series, he's working for Goliath National Bank.
oh, you're right. Wait, no, or did they
But his office is the
acquire
same.
or did they acquire the company?
Maybe, but I don't remember that being a storyline. Maybe it did, but well, yeah, we'll have to track when that happens. 'Cause I had no memory of this All True Cell name.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I remember there's, like, a whole little jingle with Goliath National Bank. Remember FDIC. Well, but Future Dad explains that Marshall's working there because he knew someone who worked there, Barney. So we find ourselves in Barney's office. I think this is the first time we're seeing Barney's office, which is pretty cool. There's tons of motivational posters splattered all over the walls. He's got this great set of windows lining one side of the wall. And Barney gets a phone call, presumably from security. And there's this voice saying, like, sorry to bother you, Mr. Stinson, but we've had reports of a Sasquatch loose in the building, and he's been reported on your floor. And Barney looks so confused. And then Marshall, like runs past the windows and he pauses and he does that like famous Bigfoot pose. I bet you enjoyed that, Nick.
Mhm.
Was that supposed to be Marshall on the phone, by the way?
I think it definitely was Marshall's voice in a little bit affected accent.
Okay.
I'm almost positive it has to be because, like, why would security not like yeah. So he called Barney, he said this, hung up, then did his walk across the windows.
Because at first I thought, well, maybe like Marshall had like convinced the security guy. He like charmed him into pranking Barney with him or something. But then I listened. I thought it's more likely Marshall on his cell phone and he hung up.
Yeah.
I also like this because we get a little reminder of Marshall's love for the supernatural.
Mhm.
Barney's excited because Marshall has suited up. You can tell Barney's excited that Marshall's there with him. Marshall admires Barney's motivational posters on his wall and sees that Barney actually had one made up for awesomeness. You just know they're selling that on Etsy or something now. Marshall uses this as an opportunity to say, Mark, Barney, we're working together. What do you actually do? And we just get the typical, like, oh, please, we're not going to find out what. Spoiler, guys, we're not going to find out for a long time what Barney does for a living. In come Blauman and Bilson. Barney introduces them. They're from legal, and Marshall's going to be working with those guys. They talk like total frat guys to the point that there's a little confusion where one of them, by the way, for me, Bilson and Blauman are completely interchangeable. I can't even tell them apart. It's
I
point.
sort of see that, but I guess I could tell them apart 'cause, I mean, they do come up later. Although their characters seem to change it when they come back later.
Oh, do they? Okay, yeah. I'm just gonna refer to them as one person. So they tell Marshall that his Thai is steak sauce. Marshall's confused. He thinks maybe there's actual steak, like literally steak sauce in his Thai. But Barney sidebars with Marshall and explains that steak sauce means A1, number one. Luckily, actually, my notes do reflect who said what a few times here. So Bilson says, "Okay, Erickson," and he gives him the first of many pretty gross scenarios, but basically has Marshall choose between Jessica Alba and Jessica Simpson. Marshall says, "Okay, well, yeah, I'm engaged." Filson kind of interrupts and says, "Okay, fine, fiance's out of town. What do you do? Go." Marshall says, "Well, we're still engaged, even if she's," again, Filson interrupts. "Okay, fine, fiance's dead, hit by a bus. What do you do? Go." Kind of wonder if this is like actually what corporate culture is like. Well, now we come to the B story of this episode, which is Robin helping Ted out with kind of navigate his long distance relationship with Victoria, and they're drinking at the bar. I don't really tell what they were drinking honestly. Ted
Huh.
is eating more cupcakes, and he kind of makes a joke that he's had 14, no, just four, but then like the frosting off of two others. Which yeah, sounds like Ted and I have a similar relationship with frosting. I'll eat it straight up off the cupcake and, like, leave the cupcake itself for my husband to eat.
That yeah, too rich.
Maybe this is kind of like people who eat frosting straight up are also the kind of people who will eat raw brownie batter, underbaked
That could be.
brownies, and yeah, which would be me, yeah. So Ted's eating the cupcakes and he tells Robin his problem. Flashback to Ted in the apartment. He's leaving Victoria a voicemail and he has his mouth stuffed with this relationship winning cupcake, which is an interesting choice of words.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Okay, good. So you picked up on that too. He says that he already sent Victoria a care package a couple days ago and it was awesome. And then back to at the bar, Ted tells Robin he thinks frosting makes him lie. Yeah. So since you reacted to that, Nick, what do you think about relationship winning cupcake?
Well, I have a whole little rant about Ted here. First of all, he isn't sending her anything. Like, he hasn't even, like, thought about trying to send something, like, in 3 weeks. He hasn't spent any time thinking about he hasn't actually put any action into doing this. He's just getting one and feeling guilty about it. Why? Also, like, he hasn't learned her schedule so she can call when he knows that she'll be awake and available.
Hmm.
He also lied to her about sending something instead of just doing it. Like, why? Like, Ted, like, are you do you even still care about Victoria? Like, it seems like you're not caring about her needs or her desires and, like, wanting to show that you care. I don't know, like, he feels resentful that she's over there, and then he's kinda lashing out by not doing the things that he would need to do to show he cares. On the other side of things, 1 care package a week is kind of a lot.
Well, it's only been a couple, right?
Well, I think it's been 3 at this point. This is the 3rd?
Oh, I thought this was the second.
No, it sounded like it's like, "Oh, another one," like, it's been happening. It's been 3 weeks, so I think my impression was that there had been a few of these.
Okay. Okay. Well, enough to make Ted feel awkward about it, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
It sounds like they might just speak different love languages.
True,
Ted might
yeah.
not be a bad package giver, which is okay, but then, he doesn't need to then lie about, "Oh, I reciprocated in the same way that you've been doing for me." Like, I don't think he needs to do that.
Yeah, yeah, but, like, he should have done something, right? Or he should be doing more, and his only solution is to, "Oh, I should do the same thing back once." Like, I don't know, it's like he doesn't really know what to do. And he should.
Oh,
It feels like he
no.
should.
Later in this, the episode, we do see him, on the phone with her. I don't think he's not making an effort. I think he's just judging himself by the way Victoria is making an effort, and then by doing that, he's creating maybe unrealistic, unfair standards for himself that he's then it's like he's, like, now setting himself to, like, fail a test that he didn't have to impose on himself.
True. Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
know.
that's
I'm
a good
gonna give
point.
him a little slack here. Like it's
Okay.
he also may not have ever been in a long distance relationship before. He obviously has never been in this long distance relationship before. They're figuring, but again, this goes back to like what you and I were saying. Like they needed more time to have these like
Mhm.
conversations ahead of time. How are we gonna make the relationship work long distance?
But I think also, like, because they haven't done that or because they haven't since then figured out, he's talking to his friends about how he's feeling about it. He's not talking to Victoria about how he feels about it. He's not coming up with ways to solve the problem with
Mm,
Victoria and make it work. And that barrier of communication is gonna, I mean, it seems like it's gonna build up and cause problems where, like, if they just talked about how to make things work and, like, what the expectations are, or, I think there would be a better solution here. But,
yeah,
like, he's trying to solve the problem completely on his own and, like, isolated from her.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he's trying to problem solve with Robin. Interestingly,
Mhm.
yeah,
The irony is clear then.
yeah. And again, I'm gonna extend him a little bit of grace here. He might feel insecure sharing some of these things with Victoria. He doesn't want to risk losing her, saying, "Hey, like I'm having trouble," reciprocate, showing like, how I feel, when we're not physically there together. But yeah, I don't know. He's talking about this to the wrong people. You're right.
I also feel like maybe he could put more effort into, like, I mean, he's always been, like, the big romantic and we've seen so far.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know, why couldn't he come up with, like, creative things to do and, like, on the phone, like, games to play, or yeah, like, why is he feels like everything's happening to him in this situation, and he's not doing anything for her, is at least as far as we're seeing. So it's like he's passively receiving what she's doing to show she still cares. But we don't see really anything Ted's doing actively to show he cares for Victoria and trying to make things work. So I think that's what I was hitting on.
Yeah, I see that, and you're right, like, Ted is nothing if not, a grand romantic gesture type person. Yeah. If he has a love language, grand romantic gesture is that love language, and we're not seeing that, so it's interesting.
Yeah, so, like, is he already deciding, like, he's not into it? And then maybe at the end of this episode, we kinda see some of that, but yeah, we
Yeah,
can get there.
maybe on some level, you know, maybe he's not communicating with himself very well either. Well, Robin is graciously trying to help. She says, "Oh, teddy boy," which is a runner in this episode.
Uh-huh.
It's kinda weird, but whatever. So Ted says, "Okay, Robin, I've told her I sent her a care package that I haven't actually sent already. She's gonna know I lied about it. Okay, here's my problem. Go work on this. I'm gonna finish this cupcake." Yeah. Robin suggests sending a New York City themed package with a New York Times paper from 3 days ago, which is a cute idea with one glaring flaw for me. Would the package not then be dated, after the phone call?
Well, tracking was not as good at that time, I don't think. Um, so I don't know if there would be a definite, like, marker of when it was sent.
Hmm.
At least unless, like, you, like, called up or something. Also, like, international mail. So I don't know. Like, maybe you could have gotten away with that time.
Yeah. And I suppose, like, maybe she wouldn't notice anyway, but that was the only flaw I potentially identified here. Weird problem he's created for himself. So then Ted comments to Robin, it's funny because I used to go to Marshall and Lily about how to impress you. And then we get a little pause and a flashback where future Ted explains the reason it was funny because little did, he know that here's what Robin was saying about Ted just a few weeks prior. And then we cut back to that scene where Lily's admitting to Robin that she might have some feelings for Ted. Then Ted's going on about the irony, and Robin bristles at this, as Nick said, okay, the irony is clear, Ted. So at the apartment, Marshall's come back from work. He doesn't want to talk about his first day, but he clearly does and ends up sharing with Lily. So flashback to the conference room where Marshall was eating lunch, and Yeah, basically, Marshall got bullied. His colleagues were teasing him for Lily packing him a lunch. They were like, "Oh, did your mommy pack this for you?" And he's like, "Oh, well, if your information, my fiance did." And then one of them's, busting his chops, like, "Oh, did she cut the crust off your sandwich too?" And he's like, "No," but he kind of like sheepishly like
Yeah.
folds the tinfoil back on his sandwich. Oh my god, they're so cute. And then, he pulls out a note that Lily had put in his little, lunch sack, and, he starts to read it, but then one of the guys, like, kinda snatches it and holds it up. He's like, "Give it, give it. They're such children." And the guy, reads the note out loud, and, he's got, like, lily pad and marshmallow. They got their little cutesy nicknames in there, and there's, like, a kiss that, Lily put in the note that escaped, when Marshall opened it, and he's gotta catch it, and anyway, Lily, in the apartment, she says, "Well, screw these guys. We're adorable. They actually are adorable."
Yeah.
And Marshall says, "Oh, this is just like freshman year all over again, except this time I can't win them over with my sweet dance moves." And he does the robot. What did he do here?
Arms? I guess, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I guess so. Freshman year, I guess he would have been 15, sitting on a couch eating a cupcake and hating himself. So I'm glad he got past that. Lily suggests to Marshall, like, "Look, it's extra money's nice, but like, it's just not worth it if you're miserable at work." And so Marshall decides to quit, and he tells Barney so at McLaren's. Barney tries to talk him out of it, and his tactic is that because Marshall says something to the effect of, this just isn't me. This corporate job, it's just not me. And Barney says, "Well, no, you're right. It isn't for you. It's for Lily." And Barney tries to convince Marshall, like, "Look, she's a catch. You're not going to be able to hang on to a girl like this unless you essentially are able to, give her the package, like a vacation once in a while, send your kids to like a good school, all these types of things." And
Yep.
Marshall, he's convinced that these types of things don't matter to Lily. She's going to be happy. But Barney says, "Okay, but look, would you be happy if you're going through life knowing that you could have made her a lot happier?" Barney's extremely persuasive.
Yeah.
Honestly, he should be a lawyer. And he makes a great joke, Barney, about, how's Lily gonna feel, when she's supporting you on a kindergarten teacher's salary when you're in court defending some endangered South American flying beaver. And the guy just kinda giggle at this. It's also interesting, though, too, this is a little bit of foreshadowing about Lily's feelings toward, Marshall's career in the future. And, is Marshall doing this for Lily? Is he doing them for himself? I kinda
Right.
wanna track this as we move forward. And clearly, Barney did convince Marshall to stay, at least for the time being, because then we find ourselves back in that conference room, and one of the bees is in the middle of one of his, I guess, gross, what do you do, ghost scenarios, because Marshall's like, I don't know, be Arthur, and then we learn that it must have been basically which Golden Girl do you want to bang, because it's wrong. It was Betty White, which I mean, yes, Betty White can get it. So I actually do agree here.
By the way, that clock in that room has, like, all the numbers, like, in the one corner of the clock.
I
You see.
noticed the clock.
Yeah. So weird, like, what's the point of that clock?
I just wrote it off as art,
Okay, or yeah,
portrait
okay.
art. I don't know. So wait, all the numbers were like in one side of it.
Yeah,
I mean, who looks at a clock on a wall? It's fine.
sure, it's useless, I guess.
It's a useless clock. But yeah, bless Marshall's heart. He's just miserable. Like,
Mm,
it isn't him. It's not. So back at the bar, Robin and Ted, they're sitting down at the table again. I think is Robin drinking a Shirley Temple? That's the only drink I could think it could be. It looks like ginger ale and a cherry in it. I'm assuming maybe a little grenadines in there. I don't know. Ted's got a beer, and so Robin was asking if Victoria got the package, if she liked it. Ted said, "Oh yeah, she liked it, but here's the problem." And then we get a flashback to the apartment, and Ted basically, like, he was on the phone with Victoria, and he's explaining to Rob, like, sometimes, like, just on the phone with each other for hours, we just kind of run out of things to talk about. And you see Ted fall asleep on the phone, talking to Victoria. Which, I wouldn't be mad about that. It's understandable. It's time difference. So Robin says, "Oh, Teddy boy." Ted congratulates himself that he's usually a good boyfriend, apparently.
I mean, we haven't seen him. Well, yeah, I guess
No
one
evidence of
many
this.
times have seen him in a relationship. I guess the closest we've gotten is with, Natalie?
And he could not have been a worse boyfriend to Natalie.
Yeah, yeah. Do we know how long they were together before?
Like a few weeks? Oh, the first time?
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I think it only been a few months because, like, he was
but
like, "Oh,
still, okay, that's the same way there. So, yeah, like, a few months in with the yeah, so you haven't seen him, be a good boyfriend.
yeah." In his mind, he's a good boyfriend.
Well,
Uh,
I guess so, although
mm,
we don't know he wasn't good until he decided he wanted to break up. And Natalie did seem really heartbroken by it, so he must have been good enough during that time.
he's and there I've dated guys like this where they're wonderful at the beginning, they can't do enough for you, but then
Um,
long term, they just can't sustain it. So it's like they kinda love I think he does a little love bombing, and maybe
yeah,
it's the criteria by which he's judging himself, and love bombing does not make you a good boyfriend.
well, I was gonna
It
say,
can
like, it's not quite like, it's not him doing it as a manipulation thing, he's just a romantic, and so it's, like, a little bit strong and then, like, maybe comes off as he, like, kind of comes down to reality or something.
yeah,
Yeah,
it should be a red flag,
yeah,
ladies, well, not just ladies, people out there, it's it's something to pay attention to because it doesn't always mean what you think it means. It might be a Ted situation or worse potentially. But regardless, Ted thinks he's a good boyfriend, but when it's hard not seeing her, and he says it's clear what he needs to do. And Robin perks up; she's looking pretty hopeful, and yeah, it's clear. But Ted's conclusion is he has to go to Germany to surprise Victoria. This seems like a Ted thing that he would do,
yeah,
the grand romantic gesture. So, okay, he's thinking about it.
but, like, he really needs a sustainable thing, not, like, one big thing to try.
Yes. That's where he needs to grow in terms of his relationships.
Or at least they should have already had a plan to, like, for him to come early and then yeah.
This is what they could have been talking about on the phone besides eating rye bread.
Yeah, yeah, they should have had, yeah, plans to come visit, like, at least, like, the first month and then, like, maybe, like, he could, like, see where she is there and, like, to become, like, at least a little bit involved in what she does there, and then, like, that would, like, give him context and to connect with her and to keep yeah. I think that
Yeah.
would've been a good idea. Also, so it gives him something to look forward to, like, even though it's not, like, the end point, like, there are, like, milestones you can kinda hit along the way to, like, reconnect and not just kind of this open-ended phone call package situation they have going on.
They needed a plan. I
Yeah.
think we've identified a major problem here. They
Mm.
needed a plan. In Barney's office, Marshall is asking Barney for advice about how to get these guys to leave him alone. And Barney tells him to consider the penguin poster. And it says conformity. It's the one who's different that gets left out in the cold. Inspiring stuff. Barney just literally tells him, just change your personality. It's way easier. And I mean, I guess we just saw Barney do this a couple episodes, right?
Mhm.
So, of course, he'd give that advice, which back in the apartment, Lily is horrified by. Also, can I pause and say, oh my God, Lily's animal print vest. It's so funny looking.
Animal print vest?
She's got this weird, like, vest type thing, but it's got like a drawstring or something at the bottom, I think. And it's like it's odd. There's some odd wardrobe choices in this episode. And Marshall says, "Look, Lily, at first I agreed with you, but then I thought about Dr. Aurelia Bernholtz Vasquez's study about, the gorillas and, this whole thing. It's totally anthropological if I try to like act like these guys and get them to accept me." And well, he says, "No, this sounds like peer pressure." And like, no, it's totally anthropological. And then Lily's so cute. She goes, "I'm pretty sure it's peer pressure. We have an assembly every year," reminding us, I guess we were reminded earlier in the episode, but yeah, Lily's a kindergarten teacher. I never got peer pressured the way, like the DARE program and like schools promised me I would.
You never had the opportunities to say no to drugs?
I mean, no, but not in the way that it was always like, "Oh, man, have a cigarette. All the cool kids are
Oh, sure, yeah.
smoking." It literally never went down like that. I think if
Yeah,
anyone
true.
offered me a cigarette or anything like that, then it was if I was like, "No, I'm good." Like, they did not care. On with their life because nobody cares. Yeah, but then, actually, which, perfect example, because then Lily says, "Okay, but if these guys do try to peer pressure you into smoking, what do you say?" And Marshall says, "Only when I'm drunk." Lily says, "Good boy."
Of course, we again get this, like, hint that maybe they're, like, smoking every once in a
Yeah,
while.
we got
But
a
yeah.
good episode. I don't remember when that episode is, but we've got a good smoking themed episode coming up. So future Ted says, "Okay, well, so, Marshall is going to he needed to be accepted by the gorillas, which meant gorilla lessons. At McLaren's, Barney is giving Marshall gorilla lessons, and he demands a high five before they get started. Marshall high fives him. Apparently, this isn't aggressive enough because Barney says, "What was that, Marshall? I should feel tremors of psychitude rock my body like a seizure. That was a declawed pregnant cat on a porch, swinging idly swatting a fly on a lazy Sunday afternoon," which Marshall points out was very specific.
That was my reaction too.
It was a really good line. Um, Marshall, he brings it. He gives a really hard high five. He just slaps the shit out of Barney's hand, and it really hurts him. And I wonder if that'll come up again.
Barney's first like, "Oh, great." Like that, yes. Like, "Ow."
It was like the aftertaste. If it were like when spice hits you or something after like a minute. Yeah, ooh, he about killed Barney. Barney teaches Marshall how to slip a guy money to get anything that he wants, and apparently there's always a guy.
This is something or you 2 have ever done? Like give someone money to like kinda do something?
No, I if there was a guy, I didn't know how to identify him. I don't know what I would ask for either.
Well, I guess it would be like, any like a DJ to do a song or a
Oh.
ballet or a bouncer.
Oh! He kinda actually does do that at the end of the episode too.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's what it's calling back to.
Okay, actually, man, I didn't even catch that. Does he slip him money or does he just
Oh, so yeah, he slips in like
I thought he
20 or
did.
40 bucks.
Okay, there you go. Well, then these lessons came in handy, these gorilla lessons. Barney also apparently gives Marshall a fictional story and has him rehearse it. So Barney's like, "Okay, are you ready?" And then Marshall totally changes his posture, totally changes his tone of voice, and then he starts the story in the bar, and then we kind of fade over to the conference room with him finishing the story, which based on what we do here, I think we can infer that this is about Marshall, I guess, fake proposing to a stripper named Svetlana, and who needed a green card and them getting kicked out of a strip club or something. He nails it because one of the bees says, Erickson, that was steak sauce. And he has gained the acceptance of the corporate gorillas, and he looks in the mirror and sees himself in a gorilla mask. And it was a cool touch. Right. So back to Ted. He's in the apartment. He was about to buy a ticket to Germany, and then gets an email from Victoria, and you see his whole face drop, and says, "Uh oh." At the bar, Robin is reading an email that Ted has printed out.
Printed out emails. That was a thing people were still doing at that time sometimes.
That is going to be my "That's so aughts," by the way. I actually laughed when I saw that. Amazing.
I mean, smartphones still didn't really exist to, like, show someone a phone like he was gonna bring his laptop to the bar. So I guess that was the only other option at the time.
I just have this image in my mind of, like, those, like, printers from, like, the '80s and '90s in offices, and they had, like, the paper with all the holes in
Dot
them, and you
matrix
go like,
printer. Yeah.
and like,
Those
that
library at Bates.
we
The print out
really did
Yeah,
not.
print out the billing slips. They had the dot matrix printer that everything would go through, and then you have to tear off the holes that guided it through, and it was
Oh
fun.
my gosh, that's too much. Well, the email says, "Hey Ted, sorry I missed your call last night. This long distance thing sucks, huh? Listen, I've been thinking and I really need to talk to you tonight. I'll call you at 11. Victoria."
Okay, I need to talk about this time issue.
Proceed.
Alright, so first of all, saying, "I really need to talk to you" in an email without saying anything about the topic is really stupid of Victoria. That was a dumb move, you should never have done that, that's terrible. Okay.
It's a little cruel.
So the time zone. So he gets this email in the morning in the US. Germany is 6 hours ahead of New York City.
Mhm.
So Ted got this email, let's say it's about 8 AM, it would have been 2 PM in Germany. Victoria says 11 PM. Okay, if she means 11 PM in Germany, that would actually be 5 PM in New York City, which doesn't seem like it would be bad. But of course, that's not what they think they mean. So if Victoria means 11 PM in New York City, that would be 5 AM in Germany.
Well, maybe that's where the miscommunication is because at the end of the episode, like Ted's like, "Oh, she never called at 11." And I honestly don't remember why she didn't
I
call at
mean,
the time.
I don't know if maybe the writers, like, got this backwards because, like, if she meant 11 PM in Germany, that would've been 5 PM in New York City, which would have already happened by the time he was going out at night.
Oh, true, because well, then she really called late.
Yeah, yeah, so it's like so if she meant 11 p.m., that would be 5 a.m. in Germany, and then, later in the episode, we find out it ends up being after 2 a.m., and
Mhm.
there's no call, that would be after 8 a.m. in Germany
Maybe she really was just gonna get up at 5 in the morning for and
to
to
have a
have this
serious.
serious conversation.
Yeah, anyway, so we'll keep track of the time here, but yeah.
Fantastic catch. But yeah, I agree with you. It's so, like, my anxiety brain is like, if anybody like, if my dad texts me and says, "Hey, can I call?" I assume somebody is dead, and usually it's, "Can I call because I have a question about, your mom wants to know what she should cook when you guys visit next weekend." But in my mind, like, someone's dead and also they hate me.
Yeah,
That's just where my brain's gonna go. So, and I assume Ted's similar. So, I don't think
yeah.
he's wrong here in assuming that she's, I truly don't remember what this call was going to be about. I remember what happens in the next episode,
I
obviously,
don't
I
know
just
if we
don't
ever
remember.
we don't know if we ever find out because it gets overridden by what actually happens,
Do
but
we not?
I think
Maybe
it
do we?
wasn't what we thought, but also it doesn't matter because of
No, no.
yeah, yeah.
I'm curious.
Yeah, yeah, I will track it, but I mean, yeah, it'll come back to, like, them not having, like, figure out a schedule to communicate or, like, not knowing each other's time, like, just, like, there's a disconnect happening here. Maybe it's on both sides, but it does seem a little Ted's a little bit more responsible than Victoria.
They don't even know what time zone they're in,
Yeah.
apparently. Robin could not actually be sweeter here. She's really trying to reassure Ted that Victoria is not calling to break up with him. She makes kind of a funny joke, but Ted says, could she possibly say that she can just say in an email? And Robin says, I cut off all my fingers. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, I actually must have that.
yeah. She is being a good friend. But then Ted's like, okay, well, I should still buy that plane ticket, right? And she's like, I'd wait. Well, at least she's still being realistic.
She's like, "Well, okay, you should give him, like, a little hope, but, like, don't make any big decisions on this."
At the apartment, Marshall's on the phone with Blauman making plans for karaoke. He's just slouched on the couch, just douching it up. And
Uh,
when he gets off the call, Lily, she's finishing up a painting of some really pretty sunflowers, and she presents it to Marshall to see what he thinks, and he says steak sauce. And Lily basically just asks him, "Okay, whatever anthropology you're doing at the office, just leave it at the don't bring it home. Don't bring it home."
so compared to with, Bilson was saying he was, like, extremely enthusiastic saying steak sauce. Here he's kinda, like, blasé and, like, he doesn't really care.
It's not that painting probably took hours. That was, yeah, you're
Mm.
right. That wasn't enough of, not enough praise.
Like, if he was enthusiastic about it and said steak sauce, it would be a little weird, but she might have been okay, but it was
Mhm.
both like, like, I don't really care about these kinda things. It's not really manly or
Definitely, definitely. Marshall tries to defend, again, he's conducting some you got guys, I majored in anthropology in college. I can't get this word out. Anthropological. He says, well, this is what Dr. Aurelia, blah, blah, blah. And then Lily cuts him off and says, no, when Dr. Australia Birdbath Vaseline came home from the gorillas, she didn't run around picking nits out of people's hair and throwing feces. Leave it at the office. Lily, he wants to know why this is bothering her. And she said, "You're acting like one of these lame guys." And Marshall says, "Look, they were mean at first. They're not now. Come out with us, do karaoke. You'll see for yourself." And Lily reluctantly agrees. And cut to the karaoke bar where, well, actually, swipe to the karaoke bar where Blauman is making the last and I'd say worst "what do you do, go" scenario, which is, basically Angelina Jolie in a wheelchair or Scarlett Johansson with no arms. Lily says, "Yeah, you're right, they're delightful." Marshall asks Barney if he's going to sing karaoke. Barney compares himself to a great samurai who lets the sword rest in his scabbard. He is apparently not going to sing karaoke. Don't worry, listeners. We get NPH on the microphone.
although, even if you're not using a sword, you should probably keep it in good condition, I would just say, like,
It is the lazy samurai who lets his sword rust in his scabbard. Yeah, you're right. Lily and Marshall are discussing what song to sing. They apparently they do like "Don't Go Breaking My Heart," Elton John. They have a little dance that goes along with it. The guys look disgusted by this, and they're like, "No, Black Sabbath all the way." So Marshall giving it a peer pressure. He agrees to do Iron Man. I don't think I know that one. Maybe I do. I'd have to hear it. I didn't get around to listening.
It's a Black Sabbath song, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I believe yeah, I'll listen to it later. Hard rock's not really my the guys dropped this bomb on Marshall and Lily that after Marshall graduates, they're going to, offer him a position at Barney's company. Marshall and Lily look at each other. Lily gives him this look like, "Don't you dare." And Marshall just kinda defiantly high fives the guys, and Lily storms off to the bar disgusted. At the bar, Marshall's followed her, and Lily says, "Okay, that was gross. When are you gonna tell me when you changed career paths?" And, yeah, they start arguing about Marshall's whole motivation to continue, in this type of position, kinda go back to these ideas that Barney's planted in Marshall's brain here. Marshall explains to Lily, "I wanna give you the whole package, send the kids good schools, get a nice you can buy an apartment, all these different things. I wanna give you the whole package." And Lily, has this great, you know, thing where she starts saying, like, "Oh, Marshall, like, your package has always been big enough. Marshall Erickson, I don't know if you realize this, you've got an enormous package." And it's really funny out of context. And, she ends walking away, and this woman at the bar who's clearly been eavesdropping on this entire conversation just kinda looks at Marshall and gives him a big old smile. And then
And
her
my friends are happy about it.
boyfriend, it was at least a date, he looks so dejected. Now, cut to Ted and Robin. They're talking on the phone. Robin, getting touched up with makeup and hair and stuff, getting ready to do the evening news. And second fashion catch of this episode. What is going on with Ted's shirt?
I didn't catch anything
It's
about it.
like toil or floral. It's got a very elaborate pattern. It wasn't my thing, but anyway, they put him in this interesting shirt. Ted tells Robin that Victoria still hasn't called him. Robin's really trying to reassure him again. She encourages him to go out, and they kind of have this bit about, oh, I if I go out, then I'm half your viewership. Who's going to watch you on the news? And she's like, "Oh, I'm flattered. You think we have two people watching us?" Then Ted does decide that, I look at me. I actually am waiting around for the phone to ring. I am going to go out, which I think that was a good decision. There's no point in them.
Yeah,
Yeah, so at the karaoke bar, yes, we are getting NPH singing. I live for these moments. He's singing Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap by AC/DC. That one I know. That one's been stuck in my head all day. Ted and Marshall start talking, and Marshall's like, "Man, I like," well, they realize it feels like they haven't really seen each other in a month. Marshall's like, "Yeah, oh man, like, how have you been actually?" Which this actually does kind
mhm,
of explain maybe why Ted has been going to Robin more than Marshall with these problems, which I think you would expect since they're best friends. So
mhm,
this I think certainly speaks to how some of Marshall's core relationships have they've been placed on the back burner while his jobs, while he's been sucked into this anthropological experiment, we'll call it.
mhm,
So yeah, Ted's sharing with Marshall, he's pretty sure Victoria's gonna break up with him. Ted's saying he doesn't like he remembers how he feels when he's around her, but it's like he almost can't like remember what she looks like. It's like he's trying to preserve something that's already gone. And Marshall says, that sounds kind of like environmental law, but Ted says, I don't know, we struggle so hard to hold on to these things. We know they're gonna disappear eventually. But like if you save every rainforest from being turned into a parking lot, where are you gonna park? Um,
which
you really get did you get Ted's point? This
I
one
mean, vaguely, you do need some places to park your car, but still, like, no, no, not the like, at this level he was saying.
it was such a strange point. I watched this scene like 3 times in a row. I thought I was being stupid. I think he just I don't know what he was trying to
No,
do here.
I think being stupid.
He's being stupid, yeah. And, like, to skip forward a couple minutes, like, Ted, he ends the episode by saying that there are some things worth preserving, and I think maybe this was a clunky way for the writers to attempt to equate bring the 2 storylines together and
No.
equate Marshall and Ted's problems. I just don't think it worked here.
Yeah, yeah.
So maybe that's where I was getting a little lost too with this point.
Also, I have to pick a bone with Ted, like, you don't remember what she looks like after just, like, what are you talking about? You not, like, at least, like, email each other photos? Like, come on, Ted. It's only been a month. You are catastrophizing, you are making this bigger deal than it is. Like, it's only been a month. Come on.
Yeah, he's not doing well. He's not the boyfriend he thinks he is. He's definitely
Yeah.
not gonna be the boyfriend he thinks he is. We're gonna get to that. Regardless, as confused as I was, whatever Ted said, whatever came out of that man's mouth, did seem to have some effect on Marshall, for the better, because Marshall gets up and he goes to the DJ and kind of whispers something, and he really
And
did this so
$40.
yeah, and he really did it so subtly, like, I watched this a few times in a row, was paying attention, and I was like, "Wait, did he actually slip him something?" But yeah, he found a guy. Um, and yeah, he subtly, slipped him a little, money and bribed him. There's a cue about you. I think he was, like, on board, just like, anyway, you smiled at him and cuts the music, and Marshall goes to, he goes up to Barney, who's rocking it on the mic, and he goes to reach for the mic, and Barney goes, "It's bro, occupied." Great line. Marshall explains, kind of whispers to Barney what he wants to do. So Barney relinquishes the mic to being a gentleman. Then the DJ says, "Okay, next up is Marshall and Lily Pad," and Marshall starts singing "Don't Go Breaking My Heart," and Lily joins in. I think we're to take this as Barney. I think that what we're meant to take from the scene is that he's no longer going native. He's coming back to his roots. He's coming back to his principles. Does it mean he's going to continue with this internship? I don't know. I don't remember. I don't think he's going to accept this full time position after law school. That much is
Yeah.
clear to me.
I also like how I don't know if you're gonna say more about the scene, but I liked how it felt kind of grounded in some ways, like how they had, like, Lily come over and then, like, say the line when it was time, like, it wasn't like she, like, raced to catch up, she was just, like, she knew where she was in the song,
Yeah.
she got up and she said the line right, like, at the end of the line.
Yeah. I noticed that too. I liked that. And they got this
Some
adorable,
people
awkward little couple dance.
yeah, which is definitely very weird, this is very embarrassing.
it's it's cringy, but it's fun. And Ted's I think he finds it endearing. He comes back to the apartment and Ted from 2030 says it turns out that some things are worth preserving. But here's the real question. It's 2 a.m. Your friends are still out singing karaoke, but you're home early because you're expecting a call from your girlfriend in Germany who was supposed to call 4 hours ago. And then wait, hold on a second. That's not even right. It would have been 3 hours ago based on the time Ted thinks she was gonna call. Because
Yeah. Well, I guess it's after 2, so maybe it's more closer to 3 now. But still, yeah, it doesn't make sense. So,
next episode, they make such a big deal of the fact that it's 2 AM. I'm not gonna let that slide. Ted and Victoria don't understand time
the
zone.
writers can't do math, apparently.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna lay this at the writer's door. And then the phone rings. Ted answers, "Hello," and it's Robin. She's calling from her apartment. She's looking like something's wrong or off, and she says kind of reluctantly, "Hey, I know it's late, but, do you wanna come over?" And then Ted from 2030 says, "What do you do?" Go. I liked how they ended this. This was a really clever,
Yeah.
tie-in to, Blauman and Bilson and, like, what do you do go throughout the
Mhm.
episode.
Yeah, I did like that. So even though it was like
Mhm.
a crass kind of joke series, like, that was a good way to end it. When you said, like, it seemed like Robin seemed like something was wrong, I think she was just, like, nervous. I think she knew Ted was gonna have this conversation. She was hoping that they did break up. She was gonna invite I think she's like, yeah, wants to invite him over and see where things go.
Well, so, like, I know that we find out a little bit more about what happened to Robin that night in the next episode. I honestly don't remember a lot of what happened. I don't remember a lot of what happens in the next episode. I remember the big thing, but I don't remember exactly what led everybody to that point. So, that's why I was kind of trying to figure out what was Robin doing here. So I'm gonna return to this next episode and see if there's anything I need to lay up Robin's Shabbatsky custom doormat.
Yeah, I mean, I did recently rewatch because I was trying to figure out the time zone issue and just, like, yeah, like, she was feeling like she needed someone is what I'll just hint at.
Okay. Well, we'll see more of that. But anything to add about this episode?
Uh, I guess I ranted enough about Ted not being invested enough in what he would need to do to keep the relationship going. 'Cause he's saying, like, he can't remember what she looked like. It's like he's not investing himself enough in making it work.
Hmm.
Because if he was, like, making it work, I don't think he would be bored on the phone. I don't think he would be forgetting to send anything, like, at all. I don't think he would forget what she looks like. I think, like, because she left, I don't know, maybe he was, like, still resenting her for leaving. So he's like, maybe he started no longer being in a relationship with Victoria, like, from the moment she left. It's kinda what it seems like.
I wonder if, you're actually being a little harsher on Ted than me right now because you watched ahead to the next episode.
No, I think I mean, the whole arc I remember very well, so I don't
Mhm.
think that's why.
Yeah.
What if I was in Ted's situation, like, why is he taking her so much for granted? Like, he proposed the long distance. He kind of set up the situation, and he's not kind of holding up his end, it feels like. And I don't think it has anything to do with wanting anything else. Like, it just feels like he's kind of already gave up as long as, like, Victoria's not there, and so, like, the desire for her has already lessened just because she's not there and not maybe providing what he needs in a relationship, but he's not recognizing that.
I can't believe I'm gonna defend him.
Okay.
I'm not saying those things aren't possible. I think there might be a little bit of, like, out of sight, out of mind going on. He's nothing if not fickle. I think and to your I think that was a great term you used earlier. He does catastrophize. He makes things way way bigger deal than they need to. So, those things could be going on. That's absolutely possible. I think what it comes down to is that he didn't think things through. I think that they didn't communicate about how this was going to look and work and what the end game would be. And I just think he doesn't know how to be in a long distance relationship. And I don't think that's his fault exactly, other than the fact that they just didn't communicate about it. I think he's expecting maybe a long distance relationship to work the same way, an in-person relationship. It's just they're gonna be different, and I think his expectations might be a little bit out of line and out of whack, and then he just doesn't know how to express his feelings for her or, maintain that emotional intimacy, or he just doesn't know what to do when she's not right there, and that's understandable.
It's yeah, that part is understandable.
Maybe Victoria's going through something similar.
Sure, yeah.
They're alike.
Because it's also true, it doesn't seem like she's paying attention to his time zones either.
Clearly not.
Yeah, so there's maybe some mutuality to that, apart from the, hair kicker package thing. Yeah. I guess we'll see in the next, episode what happens. So I guess we already talked about our that's the lots. I was just gonna say emailing instead of texting,
Mhm.
'cause
Yeah,
texting was
or,
kind
like
of gibberish anyway at that point, but,
yeah.
um
Like, now would probably if she was in Germany, it would probably be WhatsApp, actually.
sure, yeah. Mm.
I don't even know if that was around at that point. I think it was actually, no, I know it was because I remember my cousins had it, and I was in Germany, actually, literally in 2006. That's when I went to Germany myself.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. That's all I got. Um, ready to rate it?
Yeah. So I I didn't actually put a rating down before talking about it. So I'm gonna rate it.
I didn't write one down either.
It's like like, I'll say it's like it's a very strong 4. Like it is very well written. Like everything ties together quite well in a lot of ways. Not quite as funny episode. Yeah, solid. So I'll give it 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5 steak sauces.
Nice. Uh, yeah, you know what? I agree. It was I mean, like, I feel like I said this episode, like, there's the storytelling and the writing, it's all really well written. It's all really clever. This one wasn't as funny as some of the other ones. Did like I liked that Marshall had the Ace story. I like the whole kind of, like, anthropological, like, ethnographic kind of bent to it. That was fun. So,
Um,
I'll give it I know I'm kinda repeating myself, but 3.5. That's like my baseline, I think is what's happening. This is I'll do 3.5 out of 5 Betty Whites.
yeah, I think before I would have said that, like, this was a 3-ish,
Mhm,
but after talking about it, I think I realized some important aspects of it that, made me bump it up
mhm.
to a 4.
Yeah.
Of course, like, leading into the next episodes. And those episodes are Nothing Good Happens After 2 a.m. and Mary the Paralegal.
Thanks for listening to Puzzles, a How I Met Your Mother re-rewatch.
Please subscribe to us on your favorite podcast app and follow us at Puzzles Re-Rewatch on Blue Sky, Instagram, and TikTok. You can also send us your thoughts, questions, and feedback to puzzlesrerewatch@gmail.com.
Leave us a review, or if you're not into the socials like yours truly, tell a friend about our show.
See you next time.